Hi, hello. I want to plead that you watch this video till the end. If you don't watch till the end, you will misunderstand what I am talking about in this video. Thank you and God bless you. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the End Time Truth Television channel. We urge you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell icon by selecting all so that the next time we upload a new video, you will be among the first persons to be notified by Google. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, shalom. All right, I wouldn't know what happens to this woman, whether I would call it exaggeration, or should I say it was a slip of the tongue, or maybe a spirit of microphone, because microphones can sometimes put words into people's mouth. But I will play the video about 2 or 3 times for you to get it, because it is very, very short. I don't know the rest of the message that was attached to this, but however it is, this statement is very, very expensive. Except that she has something different that she wanted to share with people. Let me play it to you. God bless you.
If you do not allow your pastor to partake of your sweat, it can never be sweet. If you do not allow your pastor to partake of your sweat, it can never be sweet. If you do not allow your pastor to partake of your sweat, it can never be sweet.
Hello, you are welcome to the channel again today. I bring you greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. There is a story I want to tell you before I go into this video that you have just watched. It's a very short clip. There was that man, he is a pastor and had 2 little daughters. And so one of the days, the man has been a committed pastor and was actually working and serving God in faithfulness and in humility. But things were not so well with the man and his family. Sometimes they don't even feed well. And so one of the Sunday services, a man in the congregation was pressed. He was having a stomach upset suddenly, somehow, So he was so pressed that he decided to rush to the toilet. Now, their toilet was built in such a way that if you were in the toilet, you could still hear people speaking at the other end. So it happens to be that the 2 young daughters of the pastor were at the female side of the church toilet. So according to the story, as he was using the toilet, he was hearing someone sobbing at the other side, and he wouldn't know what was happening. But because of his own problem, he couldn't, do anything. And being that it was also female side of the toilet, so but while he was using this toilet and he was listening, he seemed to be hearing somebody saying something. And so when he paid keen attention, he overheard the younger daughter of the pastor saying that if she grew up, she would never marry a pastor. And she would never marry a pastor. So, and the older sister, who was also very young, was trying to console this young child. So that got to the man, and he really wanted to know, why would this child be making this kind of statement and with tears? And so he got there carefully and brought them out. And so lo and behold, it was the pastor's children. And so he was like, why would you say that? Now the little girl opened up and said that so many times their mother would spend all the time crying because at times in the house there would be no food in the house, and their mother would be washing them and would be so helpless to do anything, and they are hungry. And they too don't have enough food. Other children whose fathers are not pastors, and other women, other wives who happen to be wives of people that are not pastors, they live better life according to her understanding, and their children feed well. That it was because her mother married a pastor. That was why her mom was suffering, and they too, in turn, as the children of pastors, were suffering. And so she made up her mind that when she grew up, she wasn't going to be a wife of a pastor. Now, when I heard that story, though I don't know the man in question, but I tell you, it brought sorrow to my heart. Now, why I need to give you this background is that I believe that members should, as a matter of fact, and in fact, I should use must, members should be of help and encouragement to their pastors. Now, there are pastors, I have said this and I keep saying it. There are pastors who are serving God in truth and in spirit. But people look away from them. People don't appreciate them. Sometimes, even people who are paying tithe, because as I know that not all of you pay tithe. Now, people who are paying tithe will leave their local pastor and will go to a very big congregation where they will pay tithe. And somehow I wouldn't know what informs that. I wouldn't know why people do that. Maybe because of the doctrine of, if you give to the poor or something like that. I really don't get that. That you will not get rich. So maybe people are looking at it that even paying your tithe in a poor man's church would also not get you riches. But I remember something in the Bible that he that pitieth the poor lendeth to his maker. All right. And if you are lending to the maker of the poor, which is God, and God will pay you back. Now, so what I am looking at here is that there is actually sides to the life of a pastor. A genuine pastor is not manipulative, and so sometimes, in so many occasions, they suffer in silence. I know pastors that sometimes they don't even have food in their house enough. But members would walk into their office crying and complaining. The pastor would not as much talk about his own problem, his own case, and would want to source money from some members who are around to ensure that that particular member who has issues with feeding, that the family eats food. And sometimes these pastors don't have enough money to pay for their rent. And so that is the life of a pastor for you, and that is the life of a true pastor for you. And it is not actually supposed to be like that. It is not supposed to be like that. Then, having said all I have said, I just laid this foundation for you to understand that I'm not against you giving to your pastor. But when it comes to this kind of statement, like I asked earlier, could it be that she was suffering from the effect of microphone? Because sometimes there is a spirit behind microphone. Sometimes when you handle microphone, you may begin to say things that you didn't plan to say, and sometimes some will come out and tell us that it was God that led them to say those things. All right. Or I don't know if she has listened to herself again. Very good. Now, this kind of statements are manipulative statements. Actually, if you give to your pastor that is suffering, who needs the help, there is no two ways about it. God will pay you back. God will bless you. If you give, not just the pastor, if you render help, comes from your heart, you want to give a support to somebody that you know needs that support, there is no two ways about it. God rewards that kind of sacrifice. But when it comes to people using this kind of intimidation, for those of them that have gone to theological school, intimidation is a part of witchcraft. So what she had just used here is intimidation. And some of these flamboyant pastors use it well enough to put fear in the heart of their members, so that you wouldn't want to go back to where you were coming from. If you have made money enough and you are doing well, the thought of money not coming again into your purse will drive you to listen to something like this, and you want to carry it out with immediate effect. All right. But I sincerely don't believe this. God doesn't work that way. There's a difference that God is laying something in your heart to do for his servant, and you are refusing to do it. That is quite different. But this is pure intimidation, and this is purely being manipulative. There are so many people that are not Christians that don't even know God, and they are rich, and their wealth has not diminished. All right, not even those that have roots with Satan. There are so many that don't have root with Satan, but they have made money, and their wealth has continued, not because they shared their wealth with their pastors, all right, because of a certain formula they have found. And also, don't forget, don't just miss it, there is always an appointment from God for everybody. There is an appointment. There is a designation that God has appointed for every person. So sometimes, whether this person even knows God or not, the Lord sometimes allows those things to stay the way they are. And so um it is very, very funny to hear people speak this way. Well, I may be wrong. You may have a better opinion than I have just put down here. But what I have said is that I know it is very okay for you to support your pastor, support people, not just pastor, people that you see are suffering. The pastor I painted a scenario for you, the one that had that information also said that their pastor's car was very, very bad, very bad. And he attested to the fact that the man has been committed to the work that he was doing. And so many of them live in very good houses, drive very good cars, and so many of them can afford to buy more cars. But they watch their pastor languish in abject poverty. Now, that is actually extremely very, very bad. It is bad on that level. But I'm not taken by this kind of talk. It is very expensive, and I want to say it is very, very careless. God bless you. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, from me to you, shalom.